Hey bikers, thanks for tuning in to Biker Man. Today we're taking a ride on the hottest day of the year. Stick around and check it out. So that might sound crazy to some of you who have had a sort of a normal summer, but here in North Texas, it has been abnormal. This is almost the end of July. I think this was the 27th or the 28th when I took this ride, and we had not had a day over 100 degrees, which is super abnormal. Last year or the year before, I think in June, we had like almost every day was over 100. So for the end of July to hit our hottest day, which on this day was 98, is very unusual. So I don't know what summers are looking like everywhere else, but it's been a mild one for us. And the funny thing is that we kind of we had just been on vacation this previous week. We took the kids out to Oregon, and before that, it really temperature-wise hadn't really felt like summer. You know, we would get a couple of warm days, and then it would be cool and it would rain. And so, like, a front would come in and just kind of like mellow the temperature out. And I mean, like, we had temperatures in the 80s and 90s, but it wasn't until we got back from Oregon that it's really started to heat up. And now, the last couple of days, it's been over 100. So it kind of is finally feeling like summer. And now, next week, the kids are going to be going back to school, so the summer is basically going to be over. But nonetheless, even though it was a hot one, it didn't feel terrible. As you'll see in some of the video, I had sort of like partial cloudy weather. Some of the areas that I was riding were kind of covered by trees. It had some shade. So some of these exposed country roads like this one, it was kind of warm. But, you know, you just kind of get used to it. You stay hydrated. And I made sure to kind of stop halfway and take a snack and enjoy some of the scenery. So it was a nice ride. Despite the temperature, I don't have any complaints. Yeah, there I am enjoying it. It had been about a little more than a week since I've been on the bike. I don't know about you guys, when I'm not on the bike for even a couple of days, I get so excited to get back on it. So what I did was, I just wanted to get I didn't have a ton of time, so I wanted to get like a nice little quick ride in. There's some cops putting some paraphernalia on top of the car. I don't know if you could catch that in the video. It's been a while since I've seen anything like that. But anyway, I just connected. I just wanted to get a quick ride. I connected to these Jeep trails that I've ridden a couple of times before via some of those country roads that we were on, which is a great ride. It's a nice little hilly ride. But these Jeep roads, I wish that more people would ride them, because the trucks and the Jeeps and everything kind of tear them up pretty bad. Like when it's wet and muddy, but like right now, they're just kind of like a bunch of divots. I just wish other people would get back and use them other than the cars. But you can see the growth here. I do have previous videos of coming in this area, and it's like a completely different place. It's like, you know, a little jungle-like compared to the last time that I rode here. And you can see, like right here, you can see the cracking in the soil. It's like clay in the areas that are, you know, don't have shade. But then you can see like water still puddling here. Look at that mud. That was pretty muddy right there. But then there's a lot of these sections are still puddling with water, and so it's kind of fun because you kind of have to bushwhack through some of the areas like up here, you can see I was on like high alert for snakes because there's still like little like mosquito fish, bait fish in these little ponds. And, you know, the snakes come down to feed on them, probably come down to drink. I don't really know how that works with snakes, but they definitely come down to feed. But yeah, when you're riding through this kind of like this forested area and it's 100 degrees, it cools things down quite a bit. And of course it's fun, so that cools it down too, at least in my mind. But you can see that there's not, unfortunately there's not really, established trail. It would just be cool if more people were hitting it up. And these woods, all these wooded areas are, would be great to have trails. There's nothing really up and down, but it would be cool to just be able to have some, side to side trails back in the woods. And it was a cool day. I actually saw 2 deer, which is pretty abnormal for this area. I've never seen deer this close to my house. Right after I shot this video of this little spring, up on the left-hand side, 2 deer just popped out and ran away, and they were good size, but I didn't unfortunately get them on camera, and it would have been really hard to see on a GoPro anyway because of the wide angle. But anyway, the point being that this is a really nice sort of pristine forested area. It would be cool to have some trails, to establish some trails. I'd love to know if any of you guys live in the area, if you've ever been here. This is like the Highway 78 and East Fork of the Trinity River. Just, I think it's south of the Lavon Lake Dam. But if we could get like a handful of people who ride, and this is actually the Trinity River, the East Fork of the Trinity River. I sat here and had a snack, and just kind of chilled out and rehydrated a little bit. It's a pretty spot. Definitely had to do some bushwhacking through there to get back there. And if you guys saw my previous video, I think it was a video about creating a mud bike. Where I rode this in maybe December or January, and it looks like a completely different landscape now. Surprisingly, it didn't look like anybody had been down that area there. When you guys are riding, what percentage of your ride is like the same ride that you've ridden before? I sometimes it's more convenient to just take the ride and the trails and the streets and the roads that but honestly, I get bored of that so fast that I'm always looking for new routes. And before a ride, I'll be on Google Maps trying to find, areas that look cool, but there's only so much you can do on Google Maps. You kind of just have to get out there and be like, oh, that street looks cool. Oh, that trail looks cool. And I did a little bit of that on this day. And, these areas are just, they're not pristine. There's fishermen around, and, you can tell that people have been like walking along the river here. But it's just so cool to find areas and find spots and find routes and runs that you haven't checked out before. Little roadside vigil. Somebody, unfortunately, is all too common here. I don't know what it is about this area, but people drown here frequently. It's frequently on the news. but someone drowned in the river. So somebody made a little visual for him, which is nice. But yeah, it's way too frequent that it happens, and I don't know if, I'm sure it's a combination of a lot of things. Probably sometimes it's a little alcohol, sometimes maybe it's that a lot of the water is murky and there's a lot of wood in the water, there's a lot of obstructions. But man, we have, I don't know, maybe a half a dozen to a dozen people drown every year, just like in this local area, like this local region. But anyway, this is a little area that I was checking out on Google Maps that I was like, it's just like a big open field area. There's no trespassing signs or anything like that. And on maps, it looked like there was a little single track trail that you could take around the whole property, but I couldn't find it. It was either overgrown or maybe it was just an old image from Google Maps. But anyway, I love checking those kinds of things out. And what about you guys? Have you guys checked out any, new routes lately that you had never ridden before? Yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for tuning in to Biker Man. Hope you guys have a great day. I will see you out there.